Being a stuntman is the best job in the world. You're constantly being tested, just risking it all. I used to fly. Nothing's like it, man.
One stunt gone wrong left Harry Potter's body double paralyzed for life, while the boy wizard himself battled demons that nearly destroyed his career. The magic we saw on screen came with a price nobody talks about. Y'all think making movie magic is all fun and games? Think again. Behind those stunning Quidditch matches and death-defying duels, real people were putting their bodies and minds on the line. And sometimes that line got crossed in ways that changed lives forever. We're about to pull back the curtain on the Harry Potter franchise like never before. From life-altering injuries to secret battles with addiction, these stories will make you see your favorite Wizarding World moments completely different. And trust me, some of these revelations hit harder than a bludger to the chest.
You all remember the Deathly Hallows scene where Harry fights with Nagini and flies through the wall. However, this moment was tragic for Daniel Radcliffe's stunt double, David Holmes. While rehearsing for the snake attack scene, they tried to push him very fast into the wall.
I remember hitting the wall, my chest folded into my nose. I was fully conscious throughout the whole thing.
His neck was broken and Holmes was paralyzed.
Let's start with a story that'll break your heart. David Holmes wasn't just any stunt performer. This man was Daniel Radcliffe's body double for 6 straight films, from Sorcerer's Stone to Deathly Hallows. His resemblance and build to Radcliffe made him ideal for replacing him in dangerous scenes. Every time you saw Harry flying through the air or diving headfirst into danger, chances are you were watching David risk his life for our entertainment. But January 2009 changed everything. David Holmes suffered a spinal cord injury while rehearsing a flying scene, which left him paralyzed. Picture this, they're working on what should have been another routine stunt for Deathly Hallows Part 1. Holmes is pulled back by a harness attached to an overweight pulley system. He gets pulled into a wall and the force of impact fractures his neck at the C6 to 7 level.
David went in for something for the sheer fun of it.
Hi, David. Hi, David. He had no concept of fear.
I knew I was going to be a stuntman. Then I got the best job in the world. Lead stunt double for Daniel on the Potter films.
Dave just seemed like a cool older brother. He would do the most dangerous physical stuff.
The moment that haunts everyone who was there, Holmes laid on the ground, conscious, before telling his colleagues, "I can't feel my legs." Just like that, in the blink of an eye, a man's entire world shifted. Slipping in and out of consciousness while being taken to hospital, he devastatingly found out upon waking up that he was paralyzed from the waist down and left with limited movement in his arms and hands. But here's what gets me about David's story. He said, "My first thoughts weren't about not being able to walk again." This man was more concerned about others than himself, even in his darkest moment. That's the kind of heart we're talking about here. The industry rallied around him, and Daniel Radcliffe himself became an executive producer on the HBO documentary, David Holmes, The Boy Who Lived. Holmes broke his neck in January 2009, had medical complications and years of physical therapy, and now is able to move his arms. David didn't let this tragedy define him though. After becoming disabled, he took up automobile racing, showing the world that his spirit couldn't be broken.
Few people know that Daniel Radcliffe, the actor who played Harry Potter, has a neurological disorder called dyspraxia. This condition affects motor coordination, making simple tasks, like tying shoelaces, difficult. As a child, he struggled in school and often felt different. Despite these challenges, he pursued acting and achieved worldwide fame. Today, Radcliffe speaks openly about dyspraxia, encouraging others with similar conditions to persevere and embrace their uniqueness.
Now let's talk about Daniel Radcliffe himself. The kid who brought Harry Potter to life was fighting battles behind the scenes that would make Voldemort look like a warm-up act. While millions watched him grow up on screen, Daniel was struggling with challenges that most people never knew about. First up, let's address something that's been with him since childhood. In a recent interview with the UK's Daily Mail newspaper, Radcliffe admitted publicly for the first time to suffering from dyspraxia, a neurological disorder commonly associated with klutziness. In 2008, Radcliffe revealed that he has a mild form of the neurological disorder dyspraxia, which sometimes prevents him from doing simple activities such as writing or tying his shoelaces. Think about that for a second. The boy who played the most coordinated wizard in cinema history couldn't tie his own own shoes properly. His difficulties caused him to be klutzy or clumsy. He is mildly affected by dyspraxia, also known as developmental coordination disorder. Talk about life imitating art in the most ironic way possible.
Daniel Radcliffe admitted that during the filming of Harry Potter, he was battling alcoholism, and it showed. He confessed that in some scenes he was completely drunk, but no one noticed. He said he could point out exactly which scenes he was intoxicated in because his face looked bloated and his movements were off. The pressure of fame pushed him to drink heavily, especially after long filming days. He later quit drinking completely, realizing he was spiraling. The crazy part is he was delivering iconic performances while secretly wasted, and fans never had a clue.
But the dyspraxia was just the beginning of Daniel's struggles. Harry Potter star Daniel Radcliffe has had a rough ride with his health over the years, struggling with OCD, dyspraxia, and alcohol abuse. Yeah, you heard that right. While he was filming the later Harry Potter movies, Daniel was battling alcoholism.
Did you know? Daniel Radcliffe admitted he struggled with alcoholism during the filming of Harry Potter. He turned to drinking to cope with the pressure of being famous at such a young age. Getting famous young can be hard to handle, don't you think?
Self-described as attracted to chaos and often dead behind the eyes when drinking, Radcliffe has waged a battle with alcoholism and a long-standing diagnosis of obsessive-compulsive disorder. The pressure of growing up in the spotlight, combined with his neurological challenges, created a perfect storm. The turning point came when Daniel realized he needed help. He was upset after being diagnosed with dyspraxia, a persistent neurological ailment, in 2008 and had resorted to drink to cope, he claimed. Sometimes rock bottom becomes the foundation for something better, and that's exactly what happened here. The hidden cost of child stardom.
But you would feel watched when you went into a bar, when you went into a pub, and then, you know, in my case, the quickest way of forgetting about the fact that you were being watched was to get very drunk, and then as you get very drunk, you become aware that, oh, people are watching more now because now I'm getting very drunk, so I should probably drink more to ignore that more. And, like, you know, so it gets into, you know, you get into it can affect your...
Let's keep it real about what was happening behind the scenes. Little did we know he had OCD and dyspraxia, making school difficult for him. He came to the conclusion that this type of institution doesn't suit him well. So here's a kid who's already struggling with learning differences, and then boom, he gets thrust into the biggest movie franchise in history.
Daniel Radcliffe rose to fame at just 12 years old when he was cast as Harry Potter. However, fame came at a cost. In an interview with the off-camera show, Radcliffe described struggling with alcohol to cope with fame.
The weight of expectations was crushing. Imagine being 12 years old and knowing that millions of kids around the world see you as their hero. Every mistake gets magnified. Every stumble becomes front page news. And when you're already dealing with coordination issues and OCD, that pressure becomes suffocating. Daniel found refuge in the movie sets because they provided structure and understanding that traditional school couldn't offer. Radcliffe has enjoyed being on set instead of at school learning, but even that safe space came with its own challenges. The thing about mental health struggles is they don't care how famous you are or how much money you make. They don't discriminate, and Daniel's openness about his battles has probably saved more lives than any spell Harry Potter ever cast. What makes David Holmes' story even more powerful is how it affected everyone around him. Daniel Radcliffe didn't just move on after his stunt double got injured. The bond between them was real, and David's accident left a lasting impact on everyone involved in the production.
So 2009, when you were filming Deathly Hallows, obviously that was a day that changed your life forever.
Yeah, changed my life forever. It was a stunt that I'd rehearsed many times before, and in stunt action, if you're not trying to develop and build on what has already been done, then you're not really doing your job properly. We was trying to build on a wire stunt that I'd done a million times beforehand, and it was just one of those things that went wrong, unfortunately. My chest folded into my nose, my sternum winded me, and my spinal cord separated.
Holmes was Daniel Radcliffe's stunt double, and in 2009, Holmes broke his neck, sustaining a C6 to 7 SCI, while rehearsing a stunt for the Deathly Hallows Part 1. The fact that this happened during the final film adds another layer of tragedy. They were so close to finishing this incredible journey together, and then everything changed. But here's what's beautiful about this story. story. The Harry Potter family didn't abandon David. They rallied around him, supported his recovery, and continued to champion his story. When I talked to Holmes over Zoom from his home in Essex, England, he has just finished a 2-hour physio session that includes training. This man is still fighting, still pushing forward, still inspiring people more than a decade later. David's story also sparked important conversations about stunt safety in Hollywood. On this episode of Audacious, hear about life in the stunt industry from two people who've been paralyzed on set, Jonathan Goodwin and David Holmes, who was Daniel Radcliffe's double in the Harry Potter movies. These conversations matter because they prevent future tragedies. Here's where the story gets inspiring though. Both Daniel and David refused to let their challenges define them. Daniel got sober and has been open about his journey, helping countless fans who struggle with similar issues. He's used his platform to advocate for mental health awareness and has shown that seeking help isn't weakness, it's strength.
One of the best, most emotional documentaries I've seen is David Holmes' The Boy Who Lived. It tells the story of David Holmes, who was a stunt double for Daniel Radcliffe on all of the Harry Potter movies. During filming of a scene in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, there was an accident during a stunt test that resulted in David becoming paralyzed. The film is powerful and deeply moving and showcases the strong friendship between David Holmes and Daniel Radcliffe, who also executive produced this film. For Potter fans, there's excellent behind-the-scenes footage you won't see anywhere else, and it's a great tribute to everyone involved in the magic of bringing the movie to life, especially when it comes to stunts.
David Holmes has become an advocate for spinal cord injury awareness and continues to inspire people with his resilience. After becoming disabled, he took up automobile racing, proving that life doesn't stop just because circumstances change. The documentary David Holmes, The Boy Who Lived gives us an intimate look at his journey, and it's executive produced by Daniel Radcliffe himself. That's brotherhood right there. That's what real friendship looks like when the cameras stop rolling and the red carpets get rolled up. What can we learn from all this? First, that the entertainment we love comes with real costs for real people. Every stunt, every scene, every moment of movie magic involves human beings putting themselves at risk for our enjoyment. We should never take that for granted. Second, mental health struggles don't discriminate. Whether you're the most famous child actor in the world or just someone trying to make it through high school, these challenges are real and they deserve our compassion, not our judgment. Third, recovery and resilience are possible. Both Daniel and David could have let their circumstances destroy them, but instead, they chose to fight, they chose to heal, they chose to help others by sharing their stories. Why these stories matter. Look, we could have kept quiet about these struggles. We could have focused only on the magic and ignored the human cost, but that would be doing a disservice to everyone who sacrificed to bring us the entertainment we love. These stories matter because they remind us that behind every character we love is a real person with real struggles. They matter because they show us that heroes aren't people without problems. They're people who face their problems head on. They matter because somewhere out there, someone watching this is dealing with similar challenges, and knowing that their heroes went through the same things and came out stronger might be exactly what they need to hear today. Today, both Daniel Radcliffe and David Holmes continue to inspire people around the world. Daniel has gone on to have a successful career beyond Harry Potter, taking on challenging roles and using his platform for good. David continues his advocacy work and shows the world that disability doesn't mean inability. The Harry Potter franchise gave us 8 incredible movies, but the real magic happened in the resilience, friendship, and determination shown by the people who made it all possible. Their struggles weren't in vain if they helped even one person realize they're not alone in their battles. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, mental health issues, or the aftermath of a life-changing injury, please know that help is available. Resources like mental health hotlines, addiction recovery programs, and disability support organizations are there for a reason. And if these stories resonated with you, share them, not for the shock value, but for the hope they represent. Sometimes the most powerful magic is simply letting someone know they're not fighting their battles alone. Subscribe if you want more real stories behind your favorite movies, because honey, we're just getting started. There are so many more untold stories of courage, struggle, and triumph hiding behind the scenes of Hollywood's biggest hits. The real magic isn't in the spells or the special effects. It's in the human spirit's ability to overcome, to heal, and to help others along the way. And that's a kind of magic that never goes out of style. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.